y'all, welcome and welcome back to my channel, TGIF. It is Friday. I hope you guys are enjoying your Friday and looking forward to the weekend. I know I am because I got a lot to do, y'all. Like, first of all, lashes. As y'all notice, my lashes ain't done. I have an appointment with my lashes today. This is my first time getting my lashes done in Houston. So if y'all know anybody who does lashes and stuff like that, preferably in the Katy, Cypress area, let me know. But this is a mobile technician, so I'm interested to see how she's going to do, if I like the experience, etc. And then of course got my nail appointment this weekend, petty. So I'm just new to all this and finding places I like and etc. So you know, y'all can hook y'all girl up if you in that area and you recommend anybody and nail places and all that kind of stuff. Just let me know. And fun things to do with your kids. I will be vlogging on my personal channel. I'm going to be vlogging just an update since we've relocated, things I like, don't like, just a little vlog update of what's going on since I've moved. Okay, so that will be on my personal channel. Plus I have my remote jobs. If you're looking for remote work, you know someone looking for remote work, I just posted 3 non-incoming call-based positions that are hiring, meaning these are non-call center based positions, non-incoming call-based positions. I will link the personal channel in the comments below. Now, while you are here, go ahead and show your girl some love by liking the video and hitting subscribe if you are feeling the vibe, okay? Now, today's video, I thought I would do something just kind of light and fun. This is going to be stripper diaries. Very entertaining, y'all. Very, very entertaining. Of course, we're going to always talk about it just so we can kind of learn a little bit from it. But this is mainly entertaining, y'all. Cannot lie. It's funny, but go ahead and watch this. I'll be back at the end with my commentary.
Stripper has taught me men have strange fetishes. I just had a very well-known lawyer come into the club and pay me $2,500. Oh my gosh. He comes in, he's wearing a full suit, okay? We get in the room, and he's like, Holly, I bought some new lingerie. And I'm like, oh, for me? How nice. No, it wasn't for me. He takes off his suit jacket, unbuttons his shirt. He's wearing a pink lace bra. Then he proceeds to pull down the side of his pants, because he can't take his pants off, right? And shows me that he's wearing the matching thong. And I'm like, oh my God. He's like, yeah, I just custom ordered a bunch more. What do you think? And I'm like, oh, I would wear it. I would wear it. And then he's like, could I pay you X amount of dollars to look at these videos of all of my lingerie outfits and pick out the one you like the best? I'm like, sure. So for about 30 minutes, he showed me videos of him dancing in lingerie, a full-grown lawyer man wearing lingerie like I wear, okay? He also has heels to match and everything, girl. Like, it was all I could do not to bust the out laughing and keep a straight face with this man. So as time goes on, he's like, I really want to get down on all fours and you demand me to bark like a dog while you spank me. When I tell you the VIP host came in to see if we need more drinks, and I have this man on all 4 hands and knees crawling around the floor barking like a dog while I'm smacking his saying, bark louder, bark louder. He's like, yes, mistress, and I'm spanking him harder, and he's barking like, oh my God. When I came out of the room, the girls in the next room were dying laughing. They're like, Holly, get that bag, babe, get that bag. If you saw this man in everyday life, you would never know that he wears women's lingerie under his work suits every day when he goes to work, and he likes to be spanked, and he likes to bark like a dog, and he likes to pay pretty girls to do it.
I just saw this video of this woman just leaving the strip club where she worked, and she looked exhausted. She looked so done. And she goes, I need you guys to stop glamorizing being a stripper because it's right now. And to be honest with you, I was one of those girls that glamorized being a stripper. So in 2023, my tattoo career completely tanked. Like, it wasn't a gradual thing, it happened out of nowhere. I went from being booked every day to not being able to book a single appointment. I still have not been able to book a single appointment to this day unless I get asked to go to Hawaii and tattoo there. Anyway, a month into not working at all, not being able to book a single thing, I was like, okay, I started weighing out my options because my rent was is pretty expensive. I would have to work at least 4 jobs at $20 an hour to support myself, and I was like, okay, I don't think that's possible for me. So I decided to go be a stripper. So what I did was I went on YouTube, I memorized a bunch of routines, and I went to go audition at the strip club in Hollywood. So I show up, the only person's there is the manager, and I'm like, hey, I'm here to audition. He's like, go right ahead. So I go on stage. I requested Down in Mexico by the Coasters, which is one of my favorite songs, and I don't know what happened, but I blacked out. Like, I was so nervous that I don't even know what I even did. I don't know if I did any of the moves that I memorized or anything. The music stops, I get down from the stage, I go up to the manager and I'm like, hey, what do you think? He's like, you're hired. And I was like, yes! I was so excited, you guys, because I had a plan. I was like, okay, I'm not going to be here for very long, so what I need to do is try to meet as many people as I can and make a lot of connections. And so I legitimately envisioned myself meeting some 75-year-old multi-millionaire, widowed. He's lonely. I'm giving him a lap dance. He falls in love with me. I'm telling him my sob story about me being an artist and how I fallen on hard times and my business and me wanting to be a therapist. And he's just like, oh my God, like, I feel so bad for you, you know. Here's a check for $6 million. Like, I legitimately thought that was going to happen. Like, I thought that I could Anna Nicole Smith my way out of this. I was like, okay, I'm going to marry a 75-year-old multi-millionaire and be done with this forever. My first night ended up going really, really well. I ended up meeting this guy, this Scandinavian guy, and he was really, really beautiful, really sweet. And I was like, is this a sign? Like, maybe it's not the 75-year-old guy. Maybe it's this guy. And so, you know, I'm giving him a private dance, and we're chatting it up, and he's just super sweet, asking me a lot of questions about my career, and I'm like, is this guy going to save me? Like, literally. And he was really sweet, and I found that I really loved being on stage. I loved the fact that I got to choose my own music. The girls were really nice, and I didn't leave with a ton of money. I think I probably came home with like maybe $200 or something like that. And I was like, okay, that's not bad for a first night. I was there for 6 hours, but the day was when everything went downhill. I swear to God. I found out very, very quickly that there was no money on stage. No one liked to make it rain. In fact, no one liked to even make it sprinkle. So I was like, okay, I have no choice but to try and sell as many dances as I possibly can. So I'd go up to guys and I'd get a few dances here and there. And I had some guys that were nice, very, very few of them. But the ones that weren't, oh my God. A lot of them smelled, and then almost all of them would try to shove their fingers in me, and I'd have to be like, no babe, we got to keep our hands to ourselves, otherwise I can't complete the dance. And like, that was really tough for me to do because I really wanted to slap the out of them. Like, you just stuck your feet. What? And this was happening every night, 3, 4, 5 times a night, every shift. And yet I was still posting on Instagram like I was having the greatest time ever. Meanwhile, I just finished getting assaulted. And then to make matters worse, because I was Ubering from Venice to Hollywood, which is like $120 Uber, then I had to tip out the bartenders, the bouncers, the manager, the DJ. So some days I would leave the club with $20, $100, maybe $150 at the very most. And I oh my God. It became like a daily occurrence for me to come home around 6 o'clock in the morning, crying in the shower, desperately trying to scrub myself from the stench of these men because I could still smell them on me. And then I'd cry myself to sleep. And then I would go to work the next day, and it just got so bad to a point where if I wasn't dancing, I was in bed sleeping, or I just wouldn't leave the bed. And my mental health got so... But I was still posting like, look at me, look at my outfit. Like that's really bad. And I understand why people glamorize S work, because that's exactly what I was doing, but I was dying. I was so traumatized. It was one of the worst experiences of my entire adult life. Like, I never felt so dehumanized. I felt worse than I did when I was a sugar baby, worse than I did when I was a professional. I had never been treated like that in any of those things except for when I was dancing at a strip club. It was horrible. And I applaud the girls that have been doing it for a year, 2 years, 10 years. I met some girls that has worked in that same club for 10 years. I only lasted 3 months. I just stopped showing up, and I never went back. So yeah, I can definitely see how people can glamorize that kind of life, because it's just kind of all that you see. Like, no one really talks about the assault, the trauma, the fact that like you're constantly being treated like a piece of meat.
I used to be a dancer, and you know what kind of dancer I was, because I don't look like a damn ballerina. And I got caught by the dad of the family that I was actively nannying for, working at the club. I don't think I've ever told this story online. It's so embarrassing. So back in the day, I was a nanny. You know, CNA, CPR certified. So I was like, why don't I just become a nanny? But nannying did not pay the bills, okay? Like in Southeast Texas, people were not getting paid out there. I think they were paying me $15 to $20 an hour, and that was like really, really, really good, because I was also working in a restaurant that paid me $4.25 an hour. But anyways, I didn't have a couch. The only thing in my home was a pole and a mattress on the floor, and I wish I was joking. I literally have photographic evidence if you guys need it. So anyways, as much as I wish I could have only been a nanny, your girl had bills to pay, and at the time I was doing sketchy things that maybe we'll talk about in future videos, but you know, I saw a trick or two, whatever. Anyways, my stripper name was Summer. I don't know if I've also ever said that on the internet, but my stripper name was Summer. And one day, you know, I'm just dancing at the club, business as usual. It was a Tuesday night, and we had $2 Tuesdays where drinks were $2, and I hated working Tuesdays because it was a rowdy crowd, and it was just like all the people that weren't there to spend money but were there to get $2 drink. Like, it was the night where girls were in the crowd like shaking. It was a club, and it's like, no, look at me, please, she's better than me, look at me though. But anyways, okay, it's my turn to get on stage. Daisy's adding ad-libs to the story. She's excited. And I was not a very good dancer, okay? I would say I was more like a walker, or maybe like a shaker, not a dancer. I had no moves, okay? I also was not thick like I am now, okay? But my mouthpiece was good. Like this, they would see me, and then I would get off stage and I would have a line waiting for me, and I was a smooth talker, okay? If a video of me dancing on the stage, like I would literally, like I hope that is not in existence, but anyway, long story short, I finished my stage set and I'm like, I need to see if this is him, because that is weird, okay? Him and his wife were both doctors and their kid was a demon, okay? But that's a story for another day. Like, I don't even know how I looked. I was just like, and he looks at me and says, I was never here. And I say, I was never here. And internally, I'm having the craziest panic attack of my entire life because I have social anxiety and my boss is in front of me right now, okay? Like, he knew nothing about my personal life other than the fact that I passed a background check and I was CPR certified. So mid-panic attack, I am petrified, and I'm thinking, yeah, I just lost my secure income. I find the next guy that even mildly wants to dance with me, and I convince him to take me in a private room for an hour because I just need to get out of there. I was so scared. Honestly, he seemed just as scared as I was, but like I was the one that was scared of losing my job. But then also he was probably scared of losing his family. I don't know. Either way, I successfully avoided being on that stage again while he was there. And as he was walking out, he walks past me and he slips me $400 and says, "You have to be up early in the morning, don't you?" And I said, "Yes, I do. And I will be." And then we never spoke about it again. You might be wondering, why didn't you tell his wife? Oh, because I would have been fired immediately, and I needed a place to stay because I was previously homeless staying in a Motel 6, so I was not about to ruin that for myself, sorry. And that is not even why, like, I quit that nannying job. I ended up quitting it a couple months later, but...
So I'm a scripper, and the script club is literally hell on earth. So I'd like to share some really insane things that people have said to me. Starting off, number one, this is undefeated. I don't think that you could get any crazier than this. Okay, this guy who was very interested told me that I had the same body as his daughter. I I beg your finest pardon?
Story time on the weirdest thing that ever happened to me working in the strip club as a dancer. So this happened when I was about 18, 19. I was a baby dancer. I was dancing in Cleveland, Ohio at the time at this one club, and there was like a lot of chatter in the locker room amongst the girls on this guy that comes in late at night when the club is about to close and takes one girl to VIP and spend about $600 to $700 on her. But the guy had a weird request, and a lot of the girls never really talked about what the weird request is. They just said he looks like this, he spends this amount of money, he comes in at this amount of time. If you see him, just go in the back with him. So I'm thinking it's just a little club legend, and if it was real, then it kind of sounded like a setup, right? Like, go in the back with him. Why are you telling me to go in the back with him? So one night I was working late. It wasn't a good night. I didn't really make anything, and everybody was about to go to the locker room to change out. It was like the last hour, so all the ladies was finna go to the locker room and change out and go home. But this guy came in and he matched the description of the girls that told me this legend about this guy that comes in and take one girl to VIP. So I'm walking past him. I didn't even give him any attention. I was ready to go home, but I'm walking past him. He stopped me. He said, can we go to VIP for the last hour, and can I get a dance? So I'm like, okay, that's fine. So when we get to VIP, I start to dance, and he stops me. He said, no, I don't want to dance. I have a request. And now I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, oh shoot, yep, this is him. He matched the description, and now he wants a request. I hope it's not nothing too crazy, or I'm getting out of here. So I'm like, let's hear it. What's the request? He said, I want you to take your heel of your shoe, of your dancer heel, and stomp me in my private area as hard as you can. And I'm like, are you serious? Are you for real? Are you playing me right now? Is this a punk? And he's like, no, it's for real. I'll give you $600. And I'm like, oh, okay, shoot. Just to stomp on you in your private? Okay. So here I am thinking about every man that ever did me wrong. Every man that ever lied to a girl. Every man that ever left a girl when she was pregnant and was a deadbeat dad. And I stumped my hardest in that man's balls. And mind you guys, our heels, they're not little. This is for reference. Our heels are pretty thick. Really, really thick. So I'm doing it, and the guy is saying harder, do it harder. And I'm like, how much harder do you want me to do until you can't have kids no more? And if you're doing this on the regular, you probably can't have kids. But it was the easiest $600 I ever made. And that's my little story time on the weirdest thing that ever happened to me in a strip club as a dancer.
So one day we go out drinking as a group, and we're drinking, and after the night is over, I'm on my way home, and I get pulled over by the cops. I get charged with DUI and second-degree assault. The officers were I felt that they were abusive with me, but when you're intoxicated, you don't know what you're doing. So I ended up fighting them, and they arrested me. I remember that I was in the back of the car, and I was a mess. I was crying. I said, God, why is my life so bad? I had this flashback of just everything that was happening in my life, one thing after another. And then I heard a voice say, when are you going to stop fighting me? When are you going to surrender your life to me? I started weeping, and I said, now, Lord, help me, because I don't know how to change. And I remember I was just crying. I get to the jail. They put me in a jail cell by myself. And I remember it was cold. It was a cold concrete floor. And I was just like this. And I was just holding myself, and I was crying. And I said, God, I don't know how to change. I want to change, and I don't know how to. I felt like I have no control of my life, God. How are you going to change me? Everything that I do in my life just goes bad. God help me, Because if you're real, I do want to change. I want to get out of this life. If you're real, God, get me out of stripping. And I promise to serve you, God. And then all of a sudden, I'm like this. And I look up, and I was sober, like supernaturally. I said, this is so weird. This is so weird. And I look up, and then I begin to just cry even more. And as I'm crying, I can feel the presence of the Holy Spirit in the room. I felt a tangible presence, like electricity from the top of my head all the way to the soles of my feet. And I'm weeping even more because I knew this was the Holy Spirit because it was such a peace. It was like a holy presence. It was a tangible presence. Like I never experienced this. And I said, I've been waiting for this my whole life. I knew what fear felt like. I knew what anxiety felt like. I knew what panic attacks felt like. I knew what worry felt like, but this was different. It's like God was extending his love, his mercy, his grace over me and said, daughter, I hear you. I've been trying to get your attention, but you haven't listened to me. Now are you ready? I am real. And I'm touching you right here. And I said, God, yes, I'm ready. I'm ready. Help me. I want to get out of this lifestyle, Lord. Help me. And so I get out of jail the next day. Look at God. And I had just started talking to this boy who is my husband today. His mother-in-law asked him, hey, tell Andrea that there is a all women's retreat coming up next week. And I was like, wow. God heard me so quickly that he wants me to go to this retreat. And I said, tell your mom, yes, I'm going to go. I'm going to go. And I told him about my experience. And I was actually so excited. Then, right then and there, I made the decision to stop. I stopped drinking. I stopped smoking. I stopped going to the club. I stopped that lifestyle. I'll never forget. I packed up my bags and I was so excited to experience God. I was so excited to feel what I felt in the jail cell again. And I remember it was like 2 hours away and it was an all girls. I didn't know any of the girls. And we get there and the first night, the worship was so powerful. And all I could do was just lift up my hands and say, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord, for saving a wretch like me.
Okay, so now that y'all have seen those, again, entertainment purposes, like it's funny to me how like people can be like so 9 to 5 and like corporate in your day-to-day world, but behind closed doors, baby, you just will be so shocked at some of the stuff that you see. And I just think that is hilarious. Like people and they fetishes, and this is not the first time I've heard that. Like even outside of this TikTok compilation, I have heard other people in the night industry say that of like it with their story times, like saying like, you know, that they requested this and they requested that. Like I know one girl said that this guy requested her to be a little schoolgirl. Like I'm like, what is wrong with y'all? Some of y'all are just sick. But anyway, do your thing, okay? Disclosure, shout out to all the girls who shared their vulnerable moments and being so transparent in this TikTok compilation. So shout out to y'all, and I'm glad that y'all are transparent. The first girl with the blonde hair, I actually used one of her videos before in another compilation. She's very transparent, so I appreciate that because we would never know what's going on in that industry if we're not currently in the industry. So I appreciate everybody being transparent, no judgment towards them. I'm glad that they are transparent, okay? Now I am glad that the second girl who with the tattoos, the tattoo artist, was very also transparent because she's exactly right. A lot of people fantasize being a stripper and they think it's going to be one thing and then it turns out to be something else. When she's in Delulu world talking about like, oh yeah, you know, because I planned on meeting this millionaire and him getting me out of this life and da-da-da. Baby, it is not always what you think it is. It is not always that simple. I promise you it is not. Like, it's like, and it's not even these compilations. It's just me like kind of doing content and just running across so many stories. Because so many things I run across, I either choose it or I don't. So even if you don't see it on my channel, it don't mean that I ran across it and heard it, okay? But I don't know if y'all remember the Sugar Babies compilation I did on here. It's on my channel if you have not seen it, with Pumpkin and Pumpkin, and what's the girl? I can't remember. It was Pumpkin and something, and it was this black, she's like African or something, and she came over to the States, and she was a sugar baby. She met this white rich man, and she's just, I'm talking about flaunting him, like, oh, you know, like, get you a white rich man, and he's an older man, y'all, da da da. That situation, she ended up getting pregnant. That situation turned left. See, she thought the same Delulu world of like, oh, I'm going to be a rich wife and I'm going to do that. Like, no. Matter of fact, from my understanding, he did not want the baby. Okay. He had other sugar babies of color as well. She just thought she was unique and stuff. And she was all in her feelings when she found out he had other sugar babies. He was married. You know what I mean? And I'm like, girl, be for real. Like, that man is married. This was a business transaction. You were supposed to be like the cute thing on his arm from time to time, travel, whatever, but like stay in alignment. And that you decide to go have a baby, you thought that was smart. But anyway, that's on my channel if y'all want to watch that. That is just craziness. But anyways, if I find it, I might link it in the comments below as well. I'll probably do that. But be for real, it's not always what you think it is. And I think that since we don't have other things like 9-to-5s and other careers that are highlighted, people just think like, oh, especially when they're young girls, like, I want to live this lifestyle. Like, I see Young Miami and Cardi B and, you know, Black China was a thing for a while. Remember, she was a stripper and then she ended up dating Tyga. But look at how that ended up and turned out. Like, she turned her whole life around now because it's not always the life you think it is. A lot of these girls will flex to you like everything's good, everything's perfect, but they're not telling you all the stuff they had to go through, like as much essay that they have had to go through, a lot of demons that they have dealt with in their life that even brought them into that world. It's just not a lifestyle that I would recommend long term at all. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times these girls are hiding the truth. Like, just like the girl who was tatted and said, like, you know, I'll pretend everything's good. Like, look at my outfit, all of that on social media. But for real, like, I was suffering mentally. Yeah, she's being honest and she's being so for real. A lot of these girls be suffering mentally and emotionally. It's not always what you think it is at all. Believe me. Okay. So shout out to them for being so transparent. You know, if you are going to get into the, oh, and when you were saying treat it like a piece of meat. Yeah. You got to be honest with yourself. A lot of people will see you as a piece of meat. Why? Because you are getting money and pursuing money out of men based off of like sexuality. You're selling a fantasy. Okay. So a lot of these men who come in here, some of them don't have lives. Now, it's different if you're going just to have a good time every once in a while, or bachelor parties, something like that, support one of your friends in there. But like people who are going every single night, like they got other issues going on in their life. You know what I mean? Because if they were truly happy and satisfied in their life, they're not going to go to strip club every single night. You know what I mean? And I even have like, he's not really my uncle because my mom was married. It was by marriage, but she's not married to that person no more. But he lost his marriage because he got addicted to the strip club. And it's like these people really be dealing with demons on the inside. So it's like, please don't have a fantasy and thinking like, oh, he's going to come swoop me up, we're going to get married, all of that. Like, no, if you're going to do this, and that can happen, but is it likely all the time? No. If you're going to get in this, you need to have a plan. Okay. And if I'm looking down, it's because my phone, y'all know I'll be having my notes. But if you're gonna get in this, have a plan and have backup plans as well. Like the girl who was tatted and was saying like, oh, you know, I couldn't pay my rent, and like, so I had to do this, da da da. First of all, live beyond your means. Anytime you're doing anything entrepreneurial, like content creation, stripping, bottle girl, whatever you're doing, have a backup plan. Like have different trades. Like, oh, I also know how to do hair, I also know how to do nails, I also know how to, you know, I have a night job, whatever. Like have other means of income so you're not just solely relying on that. Because I hate that she had to just go to stripping even though she wanted to, because she couldn't do her passion of tatting. So always have multiple streams of income coming in, especially if you don't have like a partner, like you're married or something like that, where other income is coming in towards the bills. Have another source of income, point blank, period, you know, and have a plan. If you're going to strip, have a game plan, because that is not something long term, especially because you're selling a fantasy. So imagine you 45, 50 years old on the pole, like you're competing against people half your age. You know what I mean? You need to get in. And she's like, the people been in there for 10 years. No, like you need to go in there, have a plan, like Diamond Off Players Club. Go in there with a plan, have boundaries. This is strictly business. rack up your money, go invest that in a business, some properties, you know, school, whatever it is that you want to do, but have a plan, you know, and don't take nothing serious if you're going, I mean, and don't take what people are saying and they're serious, because yeah, they are going to see you as a piece of meat. A lot of times they're not going to respect you a lot of times because they see you coming over here and bending over for money. So realistically, a lot of them is not going to respect you, and you need to keep that in mind. You know what I mean? Like, remember on Players Cup when she was like, all right, come on, ho, and she was like, ho, you know, or B, whatever she called her, and she was like, you know, that's what you're gonna be called when you go out there, so come on. You know what I mean? And that's realistically the truth. Like, when you go out there, that's how people see you, that's how they view you. So it's like, you don't need to be in a relationship unless he's seriously okay and secure with that, okay? But I would recommend, like, you go in there, do your thing for what you got to do, and then get out. Have a game plan, a time plan, all of that. Have backup plans, etc., so you don't go to even lower routes to have to get money, okay? And then also, what I'm going to say is, know your crowd, okay? Go all the way and know your crowd. If you are a small, petite girl, you probably shouldn't go to Atlanta's big booty strip clubs and be auditioning, okay? Because even if you get a part, you might not get the money like everybody else. If you are, I can tell you one thing. If you are black, petite, or a dark-skinned black petite girl, you better go to them upper echelon strip clubs, okay? Like with the white men and all of that, because a lot of times they like something that's exotic, okay? But don't go competing against, you know, these big war. You got rappers and all these other dudes rapping about BBLs and big booties and all that, and you don't have that. That's probably not your crowd. So know what crowd you're also going to. Like, if you're skinny, you got that certain kind of look, go ahead and go to the upper echelon clubs where they prefer those. You know what I mean? Go to the strip clubs where you look like the other strippers is my recommendation, okay? But I also wanted to mention, don't get so caught up in the trap of a lot of these strippers flaunting on social media, like, oh, I got all this money and this is my life and luxury this and materialism and all of that, because a lot of them aren't truly telling you what goes on behind closed doors. A lot of them aren't telling you that they are not just stripping for that money. So unless you work in those really high end places like Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Miami, the top clubs there, then more than likely they're doing more than just stripping. So don't get caught up on that. Overall, y'all, more than anything, spiritual health, okay? You are constantly being around people who a lot of times are low vibrational. Y'all have, I think this was on the last Stripper Diaries compilation, but there have been girls who have literally said that they took something, they drunk or whatever they did, and then they saw demons in the club everywhere. That happens more often than you think, because that's what you're partying with. That's what you are dancing on. That's what's throwing money at you. Constantly in a nightlife, you have to be spiritually protected, because there are entities everywhere, and that is their playground. And you never know what you are actually bringing home with you, taking in the car with you, bringing around your kids, family, etc. So always spiritually protect yourself, always, before you go into the club, before you get in your car, when you get out your car, when you leave the club. Always be spiritually protected, okay? That's why a lot of people have to do substances before they even go in there, because it's not really them. So that last story, that's real. She's like, God, why is my life like this? Because she feels it. That's not her. And if y'all hear my daughter in the background, I'm sorry, y'all. My youngest, she too, you know how she do. So anyways, y'all, that's how I feel. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Any recommendations, let me know. I will be vlogging on my personal channel that I will link in the comments below. I will see y'all on the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.